Welcome to the Selling to Corporate podcast, where we're going to be challenging your sales beliefs around selling to corporate organizations and help you increase your bottom line profits every single month. I am Jessica Lorimer, your sales expert and guide in this world of selling to corporate companies, skyrocketing your company sales and making the impact that you really want in the world. Now, don't forget, if you do enjoy the show today, please do head over to iTunes and leave us a review. But enjoy this episode, and I am really looking forward to sharing some epic sales wisdom with you. If you can hear the outdoors as I record this today, that is because we're in the middle of a heat wave in the UK. It is unbelievably warm. I don't even know how to describe how hot it is, only to say that the backs of my legs are sweating, like the backs of my knees. Isn't that gross? I'm so sorry I shared that with you. But it's true. I didn't even know the backs of your knees could sweat, but apparently they can, and apparently mine do. If the UK could just turn the dial down a notch on the heat, that would be nice. Or if we could all get air conditioning, whatever. Anyway, we are mid-September. In fact, when you listen to this episode, I will be just 7 short days away from my 34th birthday. Woo! I don't really have any feelings on that other than I'm very much in my mid-30s now. And at what point do we start wearing cardigans? That is a question for just anyone. I just feel like your mid-30s is where you can wear cardigans in a really cool way. I don't know that I'm going to make it look really cool, but I am excited about my birthday, and I'm actually taking a couple of days off for my birthday this year. In previous years, I've historically launched podcasts on my birthday, had launches on my birthday, spoken at events on my birthday, and this year I'm not. It has to be better than last year when I went to the dentist on my birthday, but you get my gist. It is my birthday. I am very excited, and hopefully there will be some fun celebrations coming up to celebrate me entering my mid-30s cardigan wearing era, which I am super, super excited about, and you will hear more about in approximately a week's time. All very exciting. The other epic thing that is coming up is that I have an in-person day with our C-suite participants in London on the 25th of September, which I am super excited about. And I realise that it's one of those things I don't talk about all that often. But one of the things that we have done for C-suite participants who are able to get to London is to host in-person days. And they are in-person sales development days. And the one in September is happening on Monday, the 25th. Which is super, super exciting. So if you are on LinkedIn and you are looking around the 25th, 26th of September, expect to see some of the behind the scenes photos from that sales development day with C-suite participants. And as always, if you are interested in the C-suite and in joining, it's open. You can go onto the website, check it out, use our snazzy new ROI calculator to see the return on investment that you could get. And you could join us at our in-person day in January, unless you sign up before the 25th of September, I guess. You can join us on our in-person day in January 2024 as well. It's going to be a month of connection. Now, I've heard a lot over the last couple of months because at the time that I'm recording this, it is the summer holidays, dreaded by, I think, everybody. Even if you're not a parent, the summer holidays are a challenge. Getting hold of people is a challenge. And if you are a parent, you're a hero for making it through, because the summer holidays, I hear, are not easy. So if you have had the patience and tenacity to entertain and motivate and keep your children safe and happy during this last summer, then you are an absolute hero. And I remain ever impressed genuinely by the talent and skill that that takes. But over the summer, one of the things that happens is I hear a lot from people who are looking to sell more of their services to corporate organizations in September. And if you're wondering why so many people are interested in selling to corporates in September, feel free to go back to September 2020 and September 2021 on this podcast, where you will find episodes on why September really is the best time of the year to sell to corporate organizations. But I get a lot of people who come into contact with me over the summer and they talk about their plan for selling to corporate organizations in September. And most people, they'll reach out and they'll say, yeah, I am thinking about doing it. This is what area I'm thinking about specializing in. This is the industry that I think I'm going to go for. And then I'll say, okay, cool. So what's your plan? And the response probably 60% of the time, that's a made up stat, by the way, but I would say it's quite a lot. It's more than half of people come back and say, I just need to create my offers first, because otherwise I won't have anything to sell them. And there is absolutely no judgment on this. I don't think that people who spend time crafting offers and things before they sell are not going to be successful in any way, but it does take a lot longer. And so today's episode is a super quick, for me, super quick episode, just to give you a different perspective. And again, you don't have to follow my advice. That's absolutely fine. You can absolutely prove me wrong. Please do. But if you're interested in understanding why spending your time creating offers and trying to figure out all of the practicalities, create the materials and price them isn't the best use of your time between now and December, then stick around, because we have 3 points to cover, and in about 20 minutes you will be rethinking, hopefully, your corporate sales strategy for the final quarter of the year. I think there are a couple of things here, and like I say, we've got 3 points to cover today, but there are a couple of things here that make people want to create offers before they even have any sales conversations. And I think the first thing is confidence. We believe that if we know exactly what our offers will be, that sales calls will be easier because we know what we will essentially be pitching. And the second thing is that human beings have this ability to extrapolate to the nth degree. We worry about things well in advance. A lot of us worry that if we go onto a sales call and we don't have an offer mapped out, that stakeholder is going to ask us, how can you help me? And we're just going to sit there like mute lemons, kind of dumbfounded by that question. And that in itself is a really scary thing to think. Can I say, just for the record, right at the outset, it is absolutely okay if you want to spend your time creating offers before you have sales calls. However, it is not the most efficient use of your time, and you are, whether or not you have offers planned out, you are not going to look like an idiot in front of a stakeholder for asking for a little bit of time to think about what the best solution is, or for talking through solutions or potential solutions with them, or even for co-creating solutions with them. And I think it's really important that we know that, because society has ingrained in us this ability to be terrified by what might happen if we don't know all the answers. And the reality is you won't know the answers to everything anyway. So at some point, people are going to ask you questions that you just don't know the answer to. Maybe those things will be in your area of expertise and maybe they will be out of them. But this fear really does stop people selling in the most effective way and the most efficient way, because we actually spend more time procrastinating and worrying about what happens if a hypothetical scenario takes place. What will I do? How will I react? Will they think I'm an idiot? That we actually make very little progress on the things that we want to do. The 3 reasons that if I were you, I would avoid creating offers before you start doing your lead generation and before you start having your sales calls are super, super simple, but super powerful. So here we go. 1, if you create offers before you've had any sales calls or done any qualified lead generation, that offer is created based solely on your own perception. And it's based solely on your own perception of what their problems are or could be. It's based solely on your perception of how you think that they should fix it. And it's based solely on your experiences, either as an employee or working with a corporate organization in some way, or working with individuals in some way. It is only based on your experience and what you have achieved, gone through, delivered to somebody else. If you are extensively well-versed in the industry that you've chosen and in your area of specialism, maybe you had a corporate career in that before and you've worked for multiple companies, maybe your perception is right. Maybe you create the right offer straight off the bat. For those of you who have perhaps only ever worked for one organization, or who haven't worked for a corporate organization before, or who have spent the majority of your time working with B2C or individual clients, it is more likely that there will be things that don't resonate. And so that's going to mean that you will dedicate quite a few hours of your time and an extensive amount of your valuable brain space to creating an offer that is unlikely to meet the need of the client and therefore is unlikely to be immediately sellable. If, however, this does happen, so this may be you, if, however, you do have the exact right idea, it still might not be worth creating your offers or services in advance, because you might run into problem 2, which is if we haven't spoken to corporate stakeholders and we haven't had those sales conversations, we actually miss out on the commercial reasons that make it easier for us to position our offer and to sell it into an organization. Because commercial organizations aren't buying in the same way as individuals. They're not buying based on emotion or aspiration or the fear of missing out. They're buying based on what is the commercial return investment we're going to get from this particular deal. If we are not talking to stakeholders about our potential offer, it makes it really difficult to guarantee that we are spotting the right commercial reasons that organizations would want to buy our offer. And it also means that we miss out on an opportunity to help our stakeholders build an effective business case to sell our offer in at higher levels, perhaps, than they're at. If we create our offer and we, create it based on a B2C fashion, where we're prescribing what we imagine the problem to be and how we imagine they want to fix it and the transformation that we imagine that they want to have, and we're doing it through some kind of big sales page or proposal or slide deck, but I mean, we all know I hate those, so I will die on that hill. Slide decks should never be used. But if we are putting anything across that hasn't ever been discussed with the stakeholder before, A, very unlikely to buy it because they don't have buy-in, and B, we're unlikely to have articulated the commercial reasons that it would benefit them, which means it's much harder for them to build a business case, which means it's much harder for them to get higher levels of budget, which means that it is seen as a nice to have or a tick box exercise instead of being a commercially critical business endeavor. We all know that nice to have offers are not the ones that are immediately and easily sellable, and they're certainly not always the ones that are premium priced offerings either. When we're thinking about creating our offers, we have to make sure that we're not creating them in isolation, that it's not just based on what we think a problem is and how we think they should solve it. And we have to make sure that we're not operating offer, this is an offer that would be really useful, or this is an offer that would make your employees really happy. Those vague things that sound nice, but actually don't give commercially critical reasoning for your stakeholders to purchase. And then the final reason is that if we create our offers before we have had sales calls with stakeholders, we miss out on a lot of other things that can give our proposals the edge. So if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, or you've been in contact with me for a while, you'll know that I teach a 5-step process, the selling to corporate framework. So we look at clarity, understanding who you want to sell to and what transformation you're going to provide, lead generation, the process of generating qualified leads that are interested in your area of specialism and who have the budget to pay you, business development, the process of building, maintaining and leveraging relationships so that you can win more business, offers and proposals, creating solutions that genuinely meet the need and deliver a clear transformation for your client, and being able to articulate them in a way that makes them want to buy, and then finally delivery and resell, or delivery and upsell. Delivering a great experience and being able to maximize that client and resell other opportunities to them. So if we understand that it all works as a process, and that just creating an offer, which is step 4 in the framework, is only one part of the process, we understand that other pieces have to feed into it. And actually having qualified sales calls is one of the most important parts of creating sellable, premium priced offerings, because it's on those sales calls that we learn the nuances and the language that we would use, or that our client would most importantly use, to help sell it in. So if we are on those sales calls and we're doing the right things, we're asking the right questions, we're understanding all the practicalities that will come into play for the offer or solution that we end up proposing. And B, we're getting all of the nuanced pieces. We're hearing the language that they use to talk about certain things. We are getting a real understanding of the way that they describe the problems that their organization is experiencing and what they currently believe that those problems are caused by. We're able to generate buy-in on those calls and help the stakeholder to self-identify what the problem actually is, and most importantly, what the consequences are of not fixing that problem, which makes them want to solve it, and it makes them invested in listening to an offer that you are able to put together or co-creating an offer with you. It will give you insights into the delivery methods that they prefer, insights into what they have already done and tried, which may look something like your original offer. And it will give you insights into why those things worked or didn't work. They'll be able to talk you through what competitors have done in the past, what's been successful and what hasn't, and why. And they'll be able to give you clear steers on important pieces of information, like their budget, that will make you think about whether or not you want to work with this company, can commercially work with this company, or whether you need to create a different offer at a different price point in order to work with this company. There are lots and lots of things that come into creating the right offer. And I know that it can be really scary and really daunting to head on to sales calls and think that I don't have an offer that I'm going to pitch. But if you remember right from episode 1 of this podcast, way back when in June 2019, gosh, that really does seem like forever ago, doesn't it? If you remember from that first ever episode, your business development calls, your sales calls are not an opportunity for you to just sit there and pitch them something that you think they might need. That's not how you're going to win the best pieces of business. It's not how you're going to sell the offers at the premium price points. And it is not how you're going to win repeat business either. The best sellers, the people who are the most consistent in their sales achievements and revenue, and the people who are most consistently winning clients, winning bigger deals, are the people who are selling consultatively, which means that those business development calls are actually opportunities for you to be talking about them, helping them to get clarity on what issues they might be facing in your area of expertise and how they might want to start overcoming them. That's when, and only when, you can start really talking about the solution that's going to be the best fit for them. So if you are somebody who is spending loads of time creating the very best offers and thinking about workbooks and starting to get caught up in course creation or putting together any materials for it or mapping out exactly what it's going to look like, and you haven't done any lead generation yet and you haven't had any sales calls yet, please just park it just for a bit. Have a couple of sales calls, 5 is more than enough, and just sense check it before you do anything else. Even if you've worked in corporate before, just make sure that you're sense checking it, either with sales calls or with market research calls, genuine market research calls from stakeholders who are qualified to give you that market research, but just making sure that you're getting that sense check, because the last thing you want to do is spend hours and energy and time and potentially money on things like branding and whatever for something that doesn't go on to sell. Quick recap. You shouldn't be creating offers before you've had sales conversations, because if you are, it's quite likely that it will be based on your soul experiences and your work in isolation, rather than understanding a clear need in the market and putting something together for that clear need. It's also quite likely that you will miss out on some of the commercial reasoning that makes it easier to create better proposals that get you paid more. And you will miss out on all of the nuances, the language, the budget, the problems that they really have, what's worked for them before and what hasn't, and understanding what kind of delivery methods and mediums are going to work best for them right now. See, I warned you, that'd be a quickie. There you go. As always, if you do have any questions about the episode, please do make sure you reach out, because I always love questions. That means that future podcast episodes can be created. And I will warn you that there are some exciting things coming up for my birthday next week. So do keep your eyes peeled and make sure that you head over to LinkedIn and connect with me there if we are not already connected. I will see you in a couple of weeks with our next episode.